Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Um, I'm playing some Hollow Knight. I've been replaying it this week because I finally got the collector's edition from Fan Gamer. They were doing a special collector's edition for Switch, PS4, and PC, I think. And I already own it on Switch and PC, so I was like, okay, I'll get it on PS4 and have true Hollow Knight glory. So the collector's edition is really nice. It comes with like this little knight figurine inside like a glass pendant or something, which is pretty cool. It also comes with the Wanderer's Journal, which is like a 150-page booklet, like fully colored and all sorts of pictures of all the different enemies and bosses and locations and lore and stuff, which is really awesome. It came with some like paper. What do they call it? Paper craft. Yeah, so like paper figurines you can put together, which I am terrible at, so I'm not even going to attempt. It also came with some like just cardstock artwork of a few different characters, which look really good, but it's like I don't know what to do with them. Because they're really small. It's like I'm not gonna frame it or something. And then it comes with a little like comic book featuring Quirrell, which is cool. So all in all, it's nice to have. If you've never seen Hollow Knight before, oh my gosh. If you've played Ori and the Blind Forest, you really owe it to yourself to play Hollow Knight. One of the best games of the last decade. Do I add fans? No. Not really. Not because I'm against it. It's just I don't do anything multiplayer really. Now that I've got this all over the place. Anyways, this week on the Exploring series. How much does it cost on PS4? I have no idea. I mean, I just paid like 100 or something for the collector's edition. I don't know how much the normal game costs. Okay. This week on the Exploring series, we had Part 4 of the Ouroboros cycle, which was received fairly well. I think some people were confused, wondering like if that was the whole story, or why did I cut it off? Why was that only half of the way it ends? And it's like I could have released one like video over 2 hours long just doing the whole way it ends, but that would have been an insane amount of work for me to do in 1 week. And it's just far better for me to split it up. Just for viewership wise and for monetary it was just way better. So this week then I worked on the final part 5, the second half of the way it ends, which was an insane amount of work. I really don't want to do anything like that for a while again. It's just, God, it was so long. So many hours put into just writing that shit. I mean, I respect the hell out of DJ Cactus for what he's done, but good lord. So I don't know, how the ending is going to be received. I don't know what people are going to think about it. It's an ending sort of spoiled by the title of the cycle. The fact that it's a cycle, but it's just such like a good massive story, and you don't really get many of those in the SCP world. Overall, I'm just happy to be done. I'm happy to move on to just back to some smaller topics, single SCPs that I can just crank out in a 20-minute video. The final part 5 is an hour and 13 minutes long. I mean, that's nearly like 4 videos worth of content. I mean, depending on the video, it is 4 videos worth of content. So I don't really want to do that again. Can we expect a Sinking City Mythos video in the next 2 to 3 months? I doubt it. For one, I don't think that game was super popular. So compared to like when I did the God of War video, I mean, God of War was a huge video game. I mean, as far as like popularity, which pretty much guaranteed an interested viewer base. Making it worth the effort. Secondly, I just don't know how much I could really discuss. There were a handful of references, but the main plot, other than the fact that, like, Innsmouthers were involved, the main plot doesn't really have anything to do with the mythos. Like, I mean, as it, like, nothing established within the mythos. Obviously, it is within the mythos, but it's all fresh. So, I don't know. Like, I'm not, when I did the Bloodborne videos, because it was just like a passion project that I really wanted to get done. When I did the God of War one, it was really just because it was partly passion and partly because I knew it would be popular. This, I don't know if it's really either. So I'm not inclined to make one. And I don't think people are, I mean, not many people are clamoring. Last time I played this game, I struggled against this guy for like 3 hours. This time I did it first try, so that's good. The hanging with Mangg power. The Rad Brad played through the game and got millions of views on it. I mean, does he typically get millions of views, or was this an exception? I also theorized about Johannes being the King in Yellow. I mean, I theorized him being near Lethotep. I think I mentioned him potentially being the King in Yellow, but really only because he's wearing yellow. I mean, that was like it. No other traits really put him in common with Haster or anything like that. I mean, the King in Yellow is occasionally seen as like a physical avatar of Haster, but never in like a human form. It's always like a humanoid form. Yeah, I mean, I know about Cthulhu, but Cthulhu is not in the game. I mean, maybe they just like couldn't get the rights to Cthulhu, but I don't think that's how it works. So if they wanted to use Cthulhu, they would have done it. They didn't. They went with some other entity that doesn't seem to have any connection to Cthulhu. Cthulhu is never mentioned in the game, as far as I'm aware. So anyways. I mean, if I was the type of channel that just did like whatever video I felt like week to week, that would be one thing. That would be one thing where I'd be like, oh, maybe I should work on that video this week. But I'm really always so focused on any given series. And I don't tend to make videos outside of that series. Especially nowadays when I have 2 series going on. For me to make like a special separate video is such a rare thing. Like, it really has to strike me. I mean, I know I'm a Nyarlathotep fanboy, but I mean, I could see Nyarlathotep pretending to be the King in Yellow. But I don't know. I mean, they can do their own interpretation of the King in Yellow. And Johannes could have been that in the game, but it's like, unless it's clearly stated, it's sort of weird, because it's like, if you don't know anything about the mythos, you're not gonna assume that, because it's never really like stated. But then if you do know, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Anyways. Yes. The music for Hollow Knight is some of the best in video games. I own the vinyl set. It's very good. So this week on... Right, well, anyways. So the Ouroboros cycle is finishing. I'm heading to Gen Con 2019 this week. Leaving on Wednesday, so I'm putting out another Lord Blackwood tale because of that. That'll be the last one. That'll be like the only one in August, because then August is going to be pretty much all normal videos until I move, finally, at the start of September. And so I'm going to take another break at the start of September for me to move, so I'll do another tale. But we're actually sort of running out of Lord Blackwood tales. Like, the the sort of diary format that I've been reading. The author who wrote those hasn't really been active in years, so it's a bummer. I hope someone picks up the torch, carries the torch for some classic Blackwood tales. Because once those are done and I need to read something, I don't know what I'll switch to. I liked the Lord Blackwood tales partly because I like Blackwood, but I also like it because there's practically no dialogue. So I don't have to do like character voices or any shit. It's just, I can just read like a story. And there are other tales like that, but I don't, yeah, I'll have to scope around and find some good lengthy ones. So yeah, after this Blackwood tale, then I'll be going back and just doing a few regular SCPs. Nothing too complicated, hopefully. On this channel, we started up Wolfenstein Youngblood, which has not been performing well on the sales charts from what I understand. It's not getting too many favorable reviews on Steam. I've been mostly enjoying it. I've recorded 4 videos so far, but in the 4th video, I ended up dying during a level. And I learned that when you die in a level, you get sent back to like the start of the level, because there's really like no auto saves. So that was traumatizing. And then, so I was like, I played through the level again on my own to get back to the same point, and I died again. So I had to do that level 3 times. Because from what I understand, there's like level scaling involved, but then there's also the fact that the game's sort of tuned for playing with a co-op partner, and your AI partner is not very bright, so it's definitely harder single player. Combined with the fact there's no autosaves, probably because of the multiplayer aspect, and it's a little rough. It's a little rough. I enjoy the game. I turned down the difficulty, which made it a lot better. But yeah, it's got some issues I can see. In addition, we started Final Fantasy Tactics A2, which is a very pleasant looking game, I think. When I was rendering the video, I was like, oh, what a nice looking game. Very colorful. But it is also pretty fun, although I only have like 5 or so videos of that recorded. I've got plenty more recording to do. So yeah, for a while then, it's just gonna be Wolfenstein and Final Fantasy Tactics. And that should get us through a good chunk of April. At which point, at the end of April, we're going to be playing Control. And then shortly after that, like September 6th, I believe, is Monster Hunter World Iceborne, which we'll be playing some of that. So once we get to the end of April, I think that's when the game drought ends. So it should be smooth sailing from that point. moving on. So, Gen Con, like I said, is this week, Gen Con 2019, which for now is going to be our last Gen Con. I'm sure in a handful of years we'll get an itching to go back and experience it once again, but for now we're going to do this one. Ziggy's taking his wife. Phil's bringing a couple friends along that have never been. So we have a bigger group. We're going to... I mean, it's a vacation, so it'll be fine. But after this here, we're just going to take a break for a while. I don't think I'm gonna buy any games. I just spent like $400 on the freaking Bloodborne Kickstarter. But you never know. They thrive on impulse buys at conventions, so you never know. I also just bought... Ziggy was at a Goodwill, and he found an older copy of Cosmic Encounter prior to Fantasy Flight's version. And the game first came out in 1977. I believe. And so they've gone through a handful of companies. Mayfair, Eon, Avalon Hill. Maybe some other ones. But he found a copy wrapped, unpunched of the Avalon Hill version. And he had a coupon, so I got it for a decent price. Unpunched. It's definitely very retro. It's not going to be like... It's not going to replace the Fantasy Flight version. There's not nearly enough aliens involved, but it's a very cool thing to have, and I'll get a chance to play it at some point. It only supports 4 players, which is also a little rough, but still. Which is funny, because like Cosmic Encounter, normally I think like you never play it with less than 5. Like, it would just never happen. But this only goes up to 4. We didn't have role Mangg this week. One person was sick, and one person was dog sitting, which was a pretty shitty excuse, I think. But Ziggy said, no matter what, tomorrow we're doing role Mangging. We're having RPG night. Even if it's just me and him. Which would be pretty wild. So, there's really not much else to talk about, to be honest. You know how it goes when I don't have RPG night. These hanging with Manggs are always much shorter. Well, that was a great run. I guess that's about it. You know, I like to do the hanging with Manggs to check in. I stopped doing... You know, role Mangging originally was just me sitting in front of a camera doing a recap of the RPG sessions, and I sort of changed it to doing live streams and then rolling in the explanation into hanging with Mangg. But what was hanging with Mangg like before I did that? I think I probably had a lot more personal stories I shared because I did things in real life. I guess that's about it. Yeah. All right. I mean, maybe with if it's a shorter hang with Mangg, more people check in. I don't know. I mean, hey, I wish we had RPG night this week as well, so don't get me wrong. But since we didn't, that'll leave us off. Check out the Ouroboros Cycle Part 5 coming out tomorrow if you have a spare hour and 13 minutes. Sometime the following week, I'll release the combined Ouroboros Cycle video, which will be nearly 3 hours and 30 minutes long. We've also got some more Wolfenstein Youngblood and Final Fantasy Tactics A2 on the way. And of course, roll manging, guaranteed. Maybe. Should be good. My name is Mangg. This has been Hang with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.